We're back, and we're going to continue with Turnabout Reformation Trial. The first case of Ben Tennyson Ace Attorney Inverted Destiny. And yeah, we're going to find out if this witness truly is the culprit. What exactly is her motive? What reason could she possibly have for wanting the victim dead? But, I mean, to this question we can just bring up the obvious counterpoint of Xavier didn't give Maya a motive in the last episode. He said, oh, well, she doesn't, we don't know if she has a motive or not. Everyone seems to be forgetting that Miss Faye has no clear motive either. Yeah. So in all honesty, is it really necessary to give one for Marie? It is a question worth answering, Tennyson. Assuming your theory is true, a motive could give us a great understanding of what happened. Yeah, I suppose he's right. I'm a bit stumped as to why Miss Marie would want Mr. Chadwell dead. Didn't she say they were friends? That's what she said, yeah. But, although I didn't think much about it, she didn't seem that broken up about his death. I thought maybe she was just trying to keep up a tough exterior, but, Wait, I've got an idea. Oh? Really? What is it? Trucy, do you remember that weird piece of evidence we found yesterday? Huh? What weird piece of... Is it going to be the will? Wait, Ian Chadwell, heard Clyde declare... I didn't even read this properly, but this ties in with my theory that she's the daughter that I'm pretty sure got mentioned. My last living offspring will receive ownership of my company. And if she's the last living offspring... That's a weird way to phrase it as well, like he's... That kind of expects that one of them will die. So is he doing something here? Did he have some kind of plan with her? I don't know. Huh? What weird piece of... Probably doesn't make sense that he'd be in it with her. I think she's probably in it for herself. Well, wait, are you talking about that? But Benji, how does that even make sense? I'm not entirely sure about this, but I've got an idea that could make it work. Admittedly, though, it is a bit batshit crazy. Although that's part of the course in the Tenny series. At this point, though, I don't really have much else to work with. Fine, I'll give you your motive. Miss Marie killed the victim because of... I'd like the court to take a look at this. What is this? A piece of paper? It's not just a piece of paper, Your Honor. It's a will. And when there's a will, there's a way. More specifically, it's the will of the victim's father, Ian Chadwell. Ian Chadwell? A familiar name to me. A well-renowned businessman. Why are you bringing him up now? The witness told me an interesting rumour about him yesterday. Yeah, sure, he looks all good on the surface. But there have been negative rumours about the guy. Such as... Oh, it's nothing too fancy. Just that he cheated on his wife and he abandoned his daughter. That's what she said. That's what she said. Now, would you like to know where exactly I found this will? Do tell, Mr. Tennyson. The security room. As in, the one that the witness was stationed in at the time of the crime. Now, why would something like this be in a place like the security room? Wouldn't it be safer if it was closely guarded to the victim's chest? In a place like his office? No way! Hey Tennyson, you're not going to suggest what I think you're going to suggest. Oh, but I am. I believe this witness killed the victim for the purpose of obtaining this will. And you might ask why. Why would the witness kill for a will that has no relevance to her? The will denotes that Mr. Ian Chadwell's last living offspring will inherit his company, which is, again, a weird way to phrase it. I think something sus is going on with Mr. Ian here. And the amount listed below. So if Joseph Chadwell were dead, who would the inheritance go to? No one at all? Are you... stupid, Your Honor? Wrong, Your Honor. The inheritance will go to Mr. Chadwell's daughter. His daughter? Ah, Benji, you aren't saying what I think you're saying, are you? I am. Rosalith Marie, I don't believe you were just a random friend of the victim. No, I believe you're much more than that. I believe you're Ian Chadwell's abandoned daughter. What? We're gonna have to bring Chadwell in here to confirm this. Tennyson, surely you realise what you are implicating? Do you even have proof of the supposed daughter's existence? Because if you don't, your theory is little more than conjecture. Think about it. Why else would this will be in the security room? That proves nothing. Nothing. If you can't prove that I'm that scumbag's daughter, then it's all meaningless. So you want hard evidence that you're Ian Chadwell's daughter? You realise how difficult that would be to prove, Tennyson? These rumours about Chadwell's daughter, they are just that, rumours. Like I said, there is no solid evidence that this daughter even exists. Actually proving this fact would be relatively simple. Really, Benji? Do you think so? I know. I may not have any physical evidence of this, but if we do this, we'll be able to get to the truth of the matter. Alright. We've got some more very funny answers here. Well, one funny answer, two reasonable answers. Are you still mad at me for almost making Trucy cry? Fine, fine. I see how it is. What on earth? I didn't even give that penalty. You're imagining things, Joanna. Anyway, where was I? You are wasting our time, that's what. Face it, Tennyson, it's impossible for you to prove something like this. We will run a DNA test. 2 words. DNA test. Deoxyribonucleic acid test. If the victim and the witness are in fact siblings, then chances are there should be some similarities in their DNA. Ergo, if we were to run a comparison between the witness's DNA and the victim's, then at the very least, there should be a partial match. How? I see. In fact, there should be exactly 50% of the father's DNA. I suppose a DNA test would prove something like this sufficiently. I agree, Herr Judge. I'll contact Fraulein Sky and get her on it immediately. No, you can't do this. Please. The truth is going to be brought out into the open sooner or later, Miss Marie. There's no point in hiding anymore, not when we're finally grasping the truth. There's only one thing left for you to do now, and that one thing is to admit your guilt right here and now. I have news. We investigated the security room and ran some luminol tests in there. It was just as he said. There were large traces of the victim's blood in there. So that means... It would seem that the true crime scene really was the security room after all. In other words, the only possible culprit of our murder is our pretty Fraulein, Rosalith Marie. And what about the DNA test? Right, I have some news on that front as well. You're right on the money with this one too. We compared Miss Marie's DNA with the victim's, and as you suggested... Oh, I know, they must have said... I got confused. I thought they were going to go after his DNA to find out, yeah. But no, they went after his to find the step-brother, step-sister amount of DNA. And as you suggested, there was a partial match. In fact, the match was close enough that the two people in question would have to be siblings. So it seems they really are siblings in the end. The theory sounded crazy even to me, so for it to be actually true... I suppose it's the end of this line, huh? Fine, I did it. I killed Joseph. I've been wanting to do it for a while now, to be honest. That night, it was a perfect opportunity. So I called him to the security room, said I needed to talk to him. And that's where I killed him. The attorney pretty much summed up the rest. I took the tag, dragged his body to the office, cleaned the scene, took the will, and I waited for that weird gal to arrive. I knew Joseph had called her there and what time they were meeting, so she was a perfect scapegoat. As soon as she stepped in, I sounded the alarm and locked her in there. To make it believable, when the guard restrained her, I cut a piece of her robes, put some of Joseph's blood on it, and placed it in his hands. She didn't notice since her face was to the ground. You know the rest. But why? Why did you frame Aunt Maya? Like I said, I knew Joseph had called her there that day, so I took advantage of it. Why did he call her actually? That's interesting. It was nothing personal, I just did what I had to do. So you only framed her out of pure convenience, I see. I don't understand. Why'd you go so far? Is the wealth of that inheritance so important that you'd murder your own brother for it? Half-brother. That's all I ever saw him as, and that's all he's ever been. He only exists because my father betrayed my mother. Because he betrayed me. Sins of the father... Really? Do you know how that feels for someone that's supposed to love and protect you? Do you know how it feels for them to betray you like that? For some other woman? Do you? You're only the daughter. Do I know what that feels like? Yeah, I do actually. Sandra. Ooh. That man, he didn't care about me, or my mother. He was just out there living the swell life with his perfect little son. You're blaming your brother for something your father did and something he had no control over. Fraulein, did the poor man even know you were his sister? Yeah, he did, and he tried to build a relationship with me when we found out. My father did too, said he was sorry or some nonsense like that. But those craps had life handed to them on a silver platter, and my mum was left with nothing. It just wasn't fair. I couldn't take it. And that's why I gave them both what they deserved. Joseph loses his life and Ian loses his son. Damn, what a bitch. You all stand there and judge me for what you think I am. At this point I don't care. I've lost all reason to care about anything. So just do what you wish. Get out of here. It seems at last the proceedings have reached an end. Why'd you say at last? That was a pretty quick trial. I split this into two parts thinking this might go on for a bit longer because I thought they might bring Ian in or something. But this might be quite a short episode in comparison to the last two. It seems at last the proceedings have reached an end. Prosecutor Gavin, what is Rosalith Marie's current status? Our pretty Fraulein has taken her into custody, your heir judge. She will be tried for her brother's murder in the coming days. I see. Very well. I must admit I am disappointed to see that the woman was willing to murder her own brother for money. It wasn't just for money. She killed him because she hated him for what their father did. It wasn't even the poor guy's fault. Well, regardless, I was expecting there to be some kind of setup for the victim being... Well, I'm not going to say justified, but usually that would be where you would see that character going. But nope, she's just an absolute bitch who believes in the sins of the father bullshit. Well, regardless, I'm glad to say Miss Faye is not the culprit behind this case. Yep, and it's all thanks to you, Benji. Oh, come on, it's not that big a deal. I only got someone off the hook for murder, it's not that big a deal. Oh, but it is, Tennyson. I quite enjoyed rocking with you. I do hope we can do it again sometime. Sure thing, Prosecutor Gavin. Well, I believe it is now time to pass the verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maya Faye, not guilty. Yay! Oh, Gumshoe wasn't here with the confetti this time. Oh well. Everyone cheers anyway. That's all. Court is adjourned. Wouldn't it be funny if they did that on real trials to just start cheering? Like, O.J. Simpson, I find you not guilty. Well, yeah! January 15th, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 1. I actually won. And not guilty for a person that's actually innocent. It feels amazing, actually. Woohoo! We did it! Aunt Maya's innocent. And that was one heck of a turnabout. You've got that right, Truce. You really rocked in there, kid. I'm glad Nick chose you to be my attorney. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Miss Faye. So this is where the party is at, is it? Mr. Wright! And Mrs. Wright, too. Indeed. be watching everything from the gallery. I have to say that was the most splendid defense I've seen in a while. I'm impressed, Mr. Tennyson. So am I. I had a hunch that there was something special about you. And I suppose my instincts were misplaced. You've definitely got main character energy. Wait, you were watching? Since when? I thought you were on a case. Oh, I finished that. It was ruled in my favour too. We've been watching since like 15 minutes before the recess began. What? But then, why didn't you step in afterwards? Well, it didn't seem like I needed to. You seemed so confident and so determined. Well, I just didn't have it in me to take that from you. But you, didn't you know what I almost did? I almost, because of me, Miss Faye almost... Yeah, I admit that was a pretty bad move. But hey, you came to your senses in the end, and that's what matters, right? I suppose. You know, I'm slightly curious. What exactly is it that made you almost give up on Maya? You seemed so terrified when you said you thought she was guilty. What's that all about? Yeah, I was curious about that myself. You didn't get time to tell me at the recess. Yeah, do you want to talk about it? I suppose there's no point in hiding it now. This isn't the first murder case I've taken, you know. I took the defense of some rich guy before. He got found not guilty. Oh, that sounds nice. This is clearly going to be not a nice story, Trissy. Come on, read the room. It wasn't. It turned out in the end the bastard was actually guilty. Or Phoenix relates. Well, I mean, he didn't get him found not guilty. He found out beforehand, but he did defend him solidly in the first part of the trial. I mean, I know a lot of people say Farewell My Turnabout, the second trial is like the best part, but I really like the first trial as well, because you've got Phoenix going guns blazing into defending someone and doing a really good job of it given the circumstances, and you've got Edgeworth's sick moments as well. I love that whole case, but that first trial's really cool. The evidence I used to prove him innocent was a forgery, and the person who supplied it to me, he was someone I cared about and trusted. And how did he repay me? By betraying me. Because of him, because of me, someone with blood on their hands almost got away. Oh, I'm sorry. That sounds horrible. It does. To have someone you trust hurt you like that. The case was eventually brought to its rightful conclusion and the guy was sent to jail. After all, the detective found out that the evidence was forged. For some reason, the one who betrayed me, he confessed I had nothing to do with the forgery. But even so, ever since that day I could never trust myself again. And that's why I never wanted to take another murder case again. I see. I think I understand now. It wasn't so much that the case seemed obvious, but rather, because the case seemed obvious, you were scared of setting another guilty person free. Oh, you poor dear. I can't imagine how horrible that must have been for you. Yeah, there's one thing I've learned today. It's that, well, I've still got a lot to learn. Yeah, it seems so. But you can't learn alone, Benjamin. Sometimes you'll need someone to guide you. So I ask you again, will you join the Write Anything agency? You mean, your offer's still on the table? Well, of course. You did just save me. Nick is practically indebted to you now. Yep, Paddy would be a real butt-face to not offer you a job. Right, that. So then, Ben Tennyson, what do you say? Yes, 1,000 times yes. I'd love to work with the legendary Phoenix Wright. And I can finally say it with no hesitation. Awesome. Welcome aboard, kiddo. Character development. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You and me are gonna go places, you dig, Benji? Do those places get you to stop calling me that weird nickname? Am I interrupting something? Detective Sky! Nah, you're not interrupting anything. Did you need something? No, I just want to apologise. Huh? What for? For, you know, hiding that piece of fabric, testifying against Maya in general. The fops that I should save the fabric for the trials, so... Oh, it's alright, Emma. You were just doing your job. I did mention I want everyone to do their jobs and to do them well. You got that right. Besides, Aunt Maya was declared innocent, so I don't think anyone's complaining. Huh. You think so? Well, I do appreciate it. Thanks, guys. And good job, Ben. You were awesome in there. Oh, shucks. Thanks, Detective. We couldn't have caught the culprit without you, either. Rosalith Marie. Now that was just messed up. She murdered her own brother for what? Existing? Yeah, that was pretty screwed up. I couldn't imagine doing that to my own brother. Albedo may piss me off at times, but he's still my brother. I would never do that to him. Apparently, that's a name from Ben 10. As a commenter told me under part 1, that's a Ben 10 character that I've not heard of because I haven't watched the full series. I watched bits and pieces of it as a kid, you know, whenever they come on the TV. Before the days of just binging your favourite content on streaming services, I had to actually just watch whatever came on. Flick through the channels. The human mind works in mysterious ways. And everyone has a different perception of right and wrong. In Marie's case, she viewed Chadwell as being guilty by association. Because he was born out of what her father did, she believed he needed to be punished too. But that's still just wrong. I mean, it's sad her father didn't care about her, but still. Well, I wouldn't say he didn't care about her. Huh? What do you mean, Miss Wright? Even if he wronged Marie and her mother, I think he did care about her in his own way. There's even evidence supporting the fact. It's going to be the will, I think. Evidence? Is Mrs. Wright talking about... I think I get it. Mr. Chadwell's will, right? It said that the inheritance was to be given to his last living offspring. What's so important about that? Well, if he really cared more about Chadwell than he did his daughter, then why didn't he just write Chadwell's name? Why did he put his last living offspring? That's a good catch. The way I see it, I don't think he cared who got the inheritance. As long as one or the other got it, I think he'd be satisfied. Maybe he hoped they'd share it or something? Honestly, who knows? I mean, he is still alive, right? You could go and ask him. I was really hoping he'd pop up because, yeah, that would have been interesting. It really is complicated. I mean, he could show up later in the series, I guess. If this is going to be one of them games where all the cases turn out to be linked in the end. It really is complicated, huh? Well, let's not dwell on it. We need to celebrate Benji's victory. Alright then, let's get Eldunes. Nick spying. Eldune doesn't exist anymore. Eldune doesn't exist anymore. Come on, Maya, we'll have to get burgers instead. I know you. The localization demons were defeated and you reverted back to your love of ramen, but you're gonna have to go back to burgers. No, I'm sorry. What? Maya. Oh, gee, thanks, Daddy. See, Benji? Daddy can be generous every once in a while. Yeah, I can see that. Thanks, Mr. Wright. Trucy? What are you saying? Come on, Mr. Wright. It's your job to reward your employees for their hard work. She's right, Peony. He's your employee now. Why don't you welcome him? You guys as well? Ugh. Seems I've got no choice. I'm gonna have to let everything out. Let it out? Well, if you have to, Mr. Wright. Oh, I do, trust me. Oh. We're getting a first case objection ending. And so concludes my first case under the Write Anything Agency. Technically. I knew from the moment I joined the agency that I was in it for the long haul. I'm not sure what's in store for me, but I'm just itching to get in there. Lookout courtroom. Here comes Tennyson. Apollo Justice has truly been... oh, he even acknowledged it. Apollo Justice has truly been replaced in the timeline. Oh, why do I feel like I ripped that line off from somewhere? All the Apollo haters be cheering right now. Credits. Marvelously Malicious. Yeah. Marvelously Malicious by Super AG3. Maya Fey, Spirit of Justice by Hestal. Joseph Chapel by Dragon Trainer. Ben Tennyson, Desk Slam. Ian Chapel. Reminiscence Open Wound from Mega Man. Final Pursuit Grasping the Truth. This was an entry for the Ticking Time Bomb comp, hosted by Time Axis and Guardian Dreamer. So, we're at the end of this case, and when the next installments in the Ben Tennyson Ace Attorney series release, I'm going to play them. But for now, this is where we bring it to an end. I quite enjoyed this case. It was a fun little introduction case, introducing us to the new character of Ben Tennyson. And it's a nice little self-contained story to begin. We had a bit of info on the backstory, but the rest of that's clearly going to come later in regards to Ben's first trial. And Gavin's probably going to be prosecuting for these trials, and we could see Ian Chadwell become an actual character later in the series. It's a possibility. And I think, yeah, everything got neatly explained in the actual death, though. So, yeah, that was a pretty good case, and can't wait to see more from the Ben Tennyson franchise. Yeah, that's it. Bye.